Hello, folks. Welcome to episode 13 of Short Film Showcase. I'm your host, Mike Messier, and it's great to have you back as our audience. We hope you had a great 2012 with our show, and it's going to be even better in 2013. Right now, I'd like to introduce our first guest to the show. Normally, he's behind the scenes, but today we've convinced him to come on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the producer of Short Film Showcase, none other than Mr. Bryan Casey.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, Bryan. Good. We've got a lot to talk about. First of all, the fans have been giving us feedback. They really love the show.
Good, great. Short
Film Showcase. And let's talk about it. What gave you the inspiration to come up with this show for the good people?
Well, actually, it's an idea I discussed with Deb Hoke. She had me on her show, A Woman's Outlook, with you.
Right.
And I kind of wanted to do something for promotional purposes, and we got to talking about doing a film-themed show. And, you know, this came about. I also took a cue from Tony Demings, who does his monthly screenings at the Brooklyn, and I kind of wanted to do that and only put it into a television program as sort of an accompaniment for promotion.
The Brooklyn Coffee and Tea House, which is a great venue. You're wearing the Roadiewood shirt, which represents the Brooklyn Coffee and Tea House. Tony Demings, good friend of both of ours. And as a matter of fact, just to jump forward a little bit, you have an audition coming up there, don't you?
I do. I do have a casting call on January 12th. It's for a short film called Sabetier. It's based on the work of a local poet named Marie Michel. And I also have a feature film, my first feature film, called Me and You, starring David Graziano. And so we're going to do a second casting call for that. And so I'm really looking forward to it.
No, I heard through the grapevine that your first casting call for your movies, your upcoming films, was packed. People were coming in from Boston.
Yeah, I was very flattered that, I mean, we had people from all over the place coming up to, or down, to do the production. And yeah, we had to turn some away, unfortunately. But I guess that's better than sitting around waiting for people to show up.
Right.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Now, when you cast your cast, so to speak, when you cast actors in a movie, what are you looking for in your actors before you give them a role? You know, what's the criteria, or what are you looking for?
Well, I prefer doing cold reads. I know some actors prefer to be prepared with sides and so forth. I feel the cold read gives me a better idea of the raw material that they're bringing to the project. I usually get a good feel about them, what they're going to be like professionally. I usually follow my instincts on that. And oftentimes in a situation like this, where I already have my lead, I have them read against David.
Right.
So, and it's a lot of the scenes, a lot of the characters, they need to have chemistry. It's not just about being a good actor, but you have to have chemistry with the other people in the cast. You have to be believable in whatever role you're playing. For instance, one is going to be a psychiatrist, and therefore you need to be not just a good actor, but you have to create the illusion that you are a doctor.
Right.
And so it can't be just any kind of actor. I look for someone who's natural, someone who's enthusiastic. I mean, obviously you want someone involved in your project that actually cares about the project and likes the story. That's why I like people who ask questions about the characters.
Yep.
And I noticed one thing with Me and You was, I mean, the story is about a man who's grieving the loss of his wife, and he's raising a child by himself with Asperger's syndrome, and which I get some of it from my own personal experience. My nephew has it. And I was surprised that it really seemed to hit a nerve with a lot of actors and people in the film community who know someone who's been through it. I think we had someone who came in for the audition who has Asperger's. And it's nice to be able to reach whoever you're projecting your film to, whether it's actors who come to the auditions or the audience. And it's nice when people actually care about the subject matter.
Right.
And I look for a look. It's hard to really describe the look, but you know, you have some people that, you know, if you could just go into a crowded place and there's some people that just stand out.
Right.
They've got that interesting something about them.
Charisma.
Yeah.
Or just a certain character quality. Or,
Yeah. But mostly I just go with my gut.
Yeah.
And so far it's been pretty good, pretty accurate.
Now, David Graziano is a good friend of both of ours.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. He does study in my core acting class as a little
Yeah.
side note. But
Yeah.
what about David, this actor that we're speaking of, David Graziano, has done some great stuff, and I think he's even been featured on our show a few times. What about this guy? Said, well, I'm going to make this a star turn for him. I'm going to put him in this lead role and cast around him. What caused that phenomenon?
I worked with him a couple of times. One in a project called Paying Your Debts, and another one was called Between Us. And David's very passionate about acting, which is another thing I look for in an actor. You just talk to an actor sometimes during the casting process, and there are just certain people that they really talk about it. They really know what they're doing. They have a great respect for the craft. And that's the type of person I know is going to be dedicated. When they really express that passion, then I just there, read their lines, blah, 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 and walk out. And I've had those people that show up, but I also have someone like David. He will ask who the character is, where they came from, what they experienced before, and which goes right along with my philosophy of all my characters are psychologically based. I start that from the ground up, and that's what I like about him. He's always got lots of ideas. He's really great to collaborate with.
Yep.
He's very talented. He's a nice guy, very easy to work with.
So in general, you like an active actor.
Yes, yes.
You're not a give me my lines and give me a sandwich and I'll go home type of person.
Right.
So I agree with that.
And I also like actors who come in, you have something, they just want to do the lead. They come in, and if they get the lead, oh, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I like the actor who believes, there are no small roles.
Right.
Will come in, even in a tiny role, and they're just going to give it their best. Because, I've seen some actors who go in and, because they have that small role, they're not that into it. They're like, it's not that important.
Sleepwalking through it.
Right. That's one of the reasons I don't send slides. If I'm going to send them anything, it's going to be a script, because I want them to see the whole story.
Right.
So even if it's a small role, they see how they fall into the bigger picture.
Nice.
Which usually makes the actors feel like their character is more important.
Right.
Because I tend to not write extra characters just for no reason. There's always some reason, plot related, that they're in there. So.
You've got a bunch of projects that we can talk about. Chance, A Search for Home, he never said a word.
Okay.
You pick something and we'll run with it. What do you think?
Well, the one I'm currently in production with is called Chance. Stars Bryan Ellsworth, Sue Wyoral, Carlin Fournier, Emily Scarpa, and amongst others. It's a pretty big cast. It's about a small-time musician who has become estranged from his family. Part of it is because he's on the road so much, but also their young daughter becomes seriously ill, and that's kind of driven a wedge between them. And so this is after the fact. The daughter has been diagnosed with a form of cancer, and the prognosis is not good. So he's basically doing what he can to raise money for her medical expenses, while at the same time he's missing out on what could be her last few months. So we have a lot of themes throughout the film. I mean, catharsis, regret, among the different themes.
Nice.
So yeah, when I write a script, I like to give it plenty of layers.
Yep.
I have my plot, and then I'll have my subplots, and keeping in mind that the characters in the films, they didn't just walk onto the page. They didn't just poof out of nowhere. They had a life before the story, before the events of this story unfold, and they're going to have one afterwards. And you have to keep that in mind, that this gets a portion of looking into this person's life.
It's very insightful.
As opposed to just stuff happens,
right.
People are in it, and right.
Well, you think about sequels even. I mean, not that sequels are always the best movies, but sometimes they are. And you could say that, Rocky, at the end of Rocky 1, loses a fight, and then he comes back for the rematch, and then he fights a Russian, and, Mr. T and so forth. That's kind of a simple example, but what you said makes a lot of sense to me, that these characters have their own lives, and they're not just pigeons for the flight of the script. They are their own organic people. That's great. And the other two projects we had listed, Search for Home and He Never Said a Word. You want to touch on those a little bit?
Okay. A Search for Home is actually almost complete and ready for screening in March. We're going to be screening at the Cable Car Cinema in Providence. And what this is about is basically taking a simple template story of a New Year's Eve and how people make resolutions to change their lives. Only what this story looks into is that it doesn't always unfold that easily. You can't just simply change your life. Your life just is what it is, and whatever you were going through this year will carry into the next year, and you still have to deal with it. You can't just start with a clean slate. And so we find 3 lost souls at this old diner on New Year's Eve. One is an alcoholic who's recently become separated from her husband, also played by David Graziano. One is an abused woman who may be pregnant with the child of that abuser.
Yep. And
then we have the lead character. He's a homosexual who just recently came out of the closet to his wife, and of course he's going to deal with the aftermath of that.
Right.
And again, it's back to what I was saying before. There are going to be repercussions after the story unfolds. And it stars Bernie Larrabee as that character. It stars Jocelyn Padilla and Pat O'Hara.
Yeah.
It also has Caroline Fournier, David Graziano, and I hope I'm not missing anybody. But that's the basic premise of it.
Right.
And that was shot actually all over. That was shot part in Wyoral, Mass. It was shot in Providence, shot in Newport.
It's terrific. We're talking about new projects, and then we have I think we can mention the cable car. You touched briefly on that, but go more into the cable car and what's going on there in a few weeks.
Another thing I want to do for promotional purposes is to, again, just inspired by Tony's monthly events. I thought, well, what if we could do that, but it put on a bigger scale? Because I've noticed some filmmakers have done events here and there in the cinema.
Right.
But I thought, what if we could do this on a regular basis every month and raise the profile of the local film scene? Because you can. So if you tell your friends that you're working on a film, you can say, yes, it's going to be at this cinema. And I think it gets a little more credibility that way.
Right.
And more exposure to not just. I mean, it's great to show your film around to other filmmakers and everybody pats each other on the back and congratulations and all that. But you have to reach an audience. And, because ultimately that's what decides if your film's good is, do people enjoy your films? Are they entertained?
Or do they get something out of it on a cerebral level, and maybe it'll strike some later. But having short films showcased in a established cable car cinema is great. And it's about 120 seats, something like that.
About that, yeah.
Yeah, and of course the Brooklyn Coffee and Tea House, we both love it there. About 45 seats for an evening, but it's good to kind of stretch our wings a little bit and see what happens.
Well, actually, this will include Tony. He wanted to expand his Rhodywood company, so Rhodywood will be a sponsor. Yeah. They will be present, which was very important to me that he was there, since he was the one that inspired it. And again, he's well respected, and I know his enthusiasm for the arts and film. So I thought it was an important connection to make.
Well, this community is very supportive in a lot of ways of each other, and you and I have been the beneficiary of that, helping each other. And the acting community is always strong and enthusiastic, and when channeled into positive projects, powerful projects, you have some good results.
Yeah.
What else can we talk about, Bryan?
Let's see. I guess ultimately what I've been working towards is my first feature film. That's going to be Me and You. And I've been doing a lot of writing. I've already got a lot of work done on my second screenplay as well as my third. So I'm planning for the future. And I'm making things more official, working with SAG and having all the proper paperwork. And the next thing is really to break that financial barrier.
Right.
Where we can get some funding. The Rhode Island tax credit entry level is now like $100,000, as I understand it.
Yes.
And I'd really like to be one of the filmmakers that benefits from that.
That's $100,000.
$100,000
to get a 25% tax credit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, $100,000 that's enough to afford a couple of name actors onto the project that could help sell it, give it a better chance of making money. Because ultimately, that's what I would like to do is create paying work here in Rhode Island. Something. I mean, I'm not sure about competing with Hollywood and being Hollywood East, but I think you could definitely make legitimate independent films here and create an environment where there's more paying work and make use of the talent here.
Sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
We just have a few seconds left. Anything you'd like to say to the audience of the Short Film Showcase at large?
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Okay.
So.
Bryan Casey, our first guest on episode 13 of the new year. Happy New Year, Bryan.
Happy New Year.
Great to see you.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank Bryan Casey for coming on the show and being our first guest for 2013. Great way to start the year with our producer, Bryan Casey of bcfilms.net. And I'd like to remind you, filmmakers out there, if you'd like to have your short film on the Short Film Showcase, make sure and contact Bryan Casey through bcfilms.net. That's bcfilms.net. And speaking of short films, we've got a nice piece coming up. It's Transsexuals from Space by Brina Healy. It's a great 1950s style sci-fi comedy. Should be a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy Transsexuals from Space.
You are about to embark on an exploratory embolism, a trip through time, space, and gender. Transsexual troublemakers from Transmotivia are traveling through space, being pugnacious, pushy, and prissy along the way, pissing off nearly everyone they meet. All is going well for this brood of beautiful bitches until they reach the third planet from the star called the Sun. And in spite of their sinister, sophisticated, and sapphoric ways, they will learn that the hormonally driven dwellers of the water-covered planet are more of a match than they had imagined. So, sit back, engage, and enjoy their exploits. But don't let your guard drop too low. Otherwise, you may just find yourself wrapped up in something you might not expect. The attitude and the clothing of the other gender.
Excuse me.
Hartinia, can you change our course a little bit? I mean, without ruining the view? Getting awfully dizzy.
Certainly, Vixenia.
That's better. Tornado 1, have you found a planet suitable for domination in this space sector?
There are only 4 inhabited planets in the solar system. The third planet from the star called the Sun, known as Earth, is inhabited by very primitive beings and has a climate very much like our own planet. They still use physical copulation as a means of reproduction. The other 3 planets do not suit our needs.
Okay, keep searching. If you don't find a more suitable planet, we'll proceed to Earth.
I'm at your command, Vixenia.
Clumsetia, see if Earth is in sight yet.
Okay, why not?
Clumsetia, trust me on this one. Look through the larger scope.
That's much better.
Thanks!
Bitch.
Oh, there's Earth. What a strange-looking planet. The yunya bushes are huge, but they're totally devoid of vegetation. Oh, and they have forts too.
Forts? Shazbot.
Shazbot?
Shazbot.
Shazbot?
Shazbot. It's what my friend Orc from Mork used to say. It's Earth language for, oh, The Earth dwellers appear weak enough to be easily defeated. Their ancient ritual of courtship and mating is slightly reminiscent of how our elders used to reproduce. Hartini, have you found any planets suitable in the solar system?
Earth appears to be the only planet suitable for our needs. The beings there are gender-driven and therefore have extremely exploitable morals. The males of the species are, of course, superficial and weak, and the females are quite a bit stronger than the males realize and are therefore promising to be formidable opponents. I suggest that we proceed with caution, Commander.
So be it. We should complete our intelligence gathering mission in 2 planetary rotations. Dornetti 1, exactly where are we? Oh, I know. Let's check our super accurate astro viewer. Dornetti 1, exactly where are we?
Here's our current position, Commander.
Dornetti 1, this is the 1950s. Can't we get more accurate than this? I feel like we're stuck in a shopping mall or something.
How's that, Commander?
Oh, yeah, that's a big help. I see that Earth has vast quantities of liquid H2O, unlike our planet.
H2O? What's that?
Water! Clumsetia, why don't you begin replicating some Earth artifacts so we can understand the species better?
Commander, sensors indicate that celery raiders are coming towards us at flashlight speed. Shall I take evasive action?
On screen. Nah. They just want to sell us their stale cookies. Let's fax them a copy of our credit report. That ought to scare them away.
The solar invaders are changing course, Commander. It looks like they're stopping at a local convenience satellite for milk.
Steady she goes, Navigator. Continue on course.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Dronetia 2, would you mind checking the charge on the dilithium tubes, please?
Certainly, Vixenia.
The hand of death.
What's that?
It's the hand of death.
What does it do?
It kills you. What do you think it does?
Okay.
Shazbot. I wish I could get these dilithium navigational tubes to work properly. Vixenia is not gonna like this.
What's that horrible noise? Did somebody smuggle a Snorlax on board?
It's called whistling. Earth dwellers do it when they're happy.
Well, knock it off. Don't ever say that word again.
Whistling?
No, happy. Did you replicate some Earth artifacts, Clumsetia?
I did. At first, I thought this was a nutritional wafer. I feel like it's horrible heartburn, and now I just think it's a recreational device.
What else did you find?
I found this primitive defense weapon. I think it's a small club, but it doesn't look very effective. And it really hurts my hand.
Clumsetia, try it this way. Huh.
Ooh, dangerous. Find anything else, Messier?
Found this photograph from the Earth leader. His name is J. Edgar Hoover, and he was a cross-dresser.
Cross-dresser? How unattractive. He looks like an older Harvey Milk.
Who's Harvey Milk? How do you know so much about Earth?
Forget it. All personnel, prepare for invasion. Messier, keep busy. Sweep the area. Messier, you are always underfoot. I'll tell you what, why don't you go sweep the space deck?
As you wish, bitch. I mean,
Careful. I can give you KP duty. Messier, your helmet, remember?
that's right. That's much better.
Vixenia, why did you accept her assignment to this mission? She's a real pain in the command.
Yeah, I felt sorry for her. You see, she was an orphan. She was found under a yun bush on L5. You know, come to think of it, I never checked her papers. I hope she's legal. Besides, we get a tax break for hiring her. You got that?
What? Knockers?
So we have to let her back in, Commander.
Okay, now, Dornettia, show some tolerance. Let's just leave her out there for a few minutes while we get a couple of things done.
Hello, can I come in now? Getting kind of cold out here. Drop my broom. Can I come in now?
Stupid Snorlax. He's so much fun to torture.
Put her on. Leave those poor creatures alone. Robot 4, come take these things to safety.
Ow!
Messier, report to the bridge immediately.
Here you go. I'm always getting interrupted.
My turn. Balls of pleasure. Bring me pleasure. Bring it. Bring pleasure. Bring. Bling. Bling? Hey. Pleasurable, shiny, expensive, desirable. Bling! I just invented a new word. Up!
The Earth Dwellers will be no match against our advanced weaponry. Our ray guns go to 11. Lieutenant, can you back up a little bit? I'd love to watch the Plessian migration. They're such beautiful creatures.
At your request, Commander.
Oh, I love the so. Oh, I love We're in trouble now.
What the hell are you guys doing? I saw you reverse rockets. There's no backing up in space.
I'm so sorry. We were just backing up so that we could watch the Plessian migration. And we're stopping by L5 later to have the space buffet.
Later to have the space. have the space buffet.
I'm sorry. I ordered my Navigator Hartini to back up before I bothered to check our rearview mirror. Dronetti 1, would you go out and see if our handsome stranger ship has any damage? You know, they serve Tranya at the buffet on L5. What do you say you buy me a drink?
Good news, Commander. The handsome stranger's ship is barely scratched. All we did was break a taillight.
Don't worry, we're insured. We have Gecko. We're very progressive thinkers.
I log the damages, Vixenia. We will have to effect repairs before the next state inspection, however. Again, I'm so sorry, sir. What's your name?
Longstar. The name's Longstar. I'm from Earth.
Earth?
You heard of us? But listen, ladies, I gotta get back to the buffet before they run out of the Reblick muscle. Love that buffet. Best in space. There's another buffet, L4 I think it's called, out on the blue sector past the Kexon energy field. Why they'd put a buffet way out there, I have no idea. But anyway, listen, try to take it easy navigating, will you? And remember, no backing up in space.
Ooh, he was hot.
Premium specimen.
My favorite part of the whole visit was watching him walk away.
I'm still hungry.
That short one was kind of cute. No, not the light of truth. I can't tell a lie in front of the light of truth. Oh, no. All right. I'm a smuggler. I smuggled them. I did it. I'm a smuggler. No.
Those damn Snorlax are too cute for their own good. And I hate tribunals. Besides, Cruelia will enjoy this much more than I would.
Let the tribunal begin. Where's Vixenia?
I'm not quite sure. She did mention something about Cruelia enjoying this a bit more than she would. Last time I saw her, she was heading to the shuttle, mumbling something about
Shoe shopping, my favorite.
Ring the ceremonial bell. I said bell.
Hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is. I like that. You should write that down. Now then, what you're on. You have been accused of treason and of smuggling Snorlax on board in direct violation of IPPP Law Z155R. How do you plead?
I plead insanity. I'm just crazy about torturing those nasty little things.
You have been found guilty. We sentence you to perform abdominal exercises.
No. Please. Anything but that. I'll rearrange your shoe closets. I'll give you all pedicures. I'll even vacuum space. Anything but that. Please.
Well, no. Sorry.
The claws of containment!
We'll all have to use special precautions. One whiff of his pheromonal extrusions will all be under his control. Careful.
I'm gonna get you guys for this.
You. Dronetti, too, please, just get rid of it.
Moon boots. I overdid it this time.
Seriously, does Vixinia even have a clue as to how we're gonna conquer these Earth dwellers?
I've been thinking a lot about that too. I've been observing the Earth dwellers through the viewing scope.
Have you?
It seems they're so hung up on gender roles.
Are you serious? Hung up. They can't express their physical, psychological, or even their emotional nature. So I did some research on these Earth dwellers, and there's this one in particular, Christine Jorgensen. She was the first one to have the sex change operation. And these Earth dwellers, oh my God, they blew a gasket over this whole issue. But between you and me, they can't see anything outside of the normal status quo.
Dronetti 4, please sign fuel log.
Hi, Cladonia. We were just discussing on taking over the Earth. Wondered if you had any ideas.
But of course, I have created a synthetic hormone. I've been working on this formula with Vixinia. And we think that if we lace the Earthlings' undergarments, that we can control them.
How delicious.
When the hormones touch their skin, they will immediately be transformed into transsexuals. Earth dwellers are such easy prey.
It's tough. Math is tough. It's a C. It's accomplished.
I hope
you know?
so. I feel like
You're
we've
all
been
right.
working
Don't
on
worry
this for so long, and I just... What are you wearing? What is that?
What do you mean? I found it in my sock drawer.
You
honey.
did not
You
find
put
that
in
in
there,
your... I
didn't
most
you?
certainly did not.
You
If
didn't
I
put it
wanted
in
to
there?
see that, I would look at a dirty magazine. What is wrong with you?
Now I know why women wear this.
That is not why we wear it. It is
So
not why we
hot.
wear it. It is not hot. It is the opposite of hot. Now you need to put these on. I never noticed how sexy men's underwear can be.
Yeah? Put it on.
Really?
Yeah.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, it's really soft.
Mm.
What do you think?
Yeah, let's turn it around. Come here, you.
wonder if I can get the matching panties.
One day at Galaxy High, we played the game of our life. We tried to juggle sometime in our minds. We saw the times in our head. Our lungs wanted life, but now it's dead. Let's drop some rockets to this bed. Try to make it right. Shoot for the stars. Shoot for the stars. Shoot for the stars. Shoot for the stars. One night alone was spent with you. One look in your eyes and I see the truth. Let's take this whistle of love and go someplace, anyplace new. I wanna go with you.
You're watching Short Film Showcase. We just had a great extended short called Transsexuals from Space. I hope you enjoyed it, just as you're about to enjoy our interview with Sue Wyoral. Sue, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. This is the standard.
There we go. Give you two.
Okay. Thank you.
Sue, it's great to have you here.
Thanks.
And I've been practicing your name, and I believe I got it correct.
You did.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
You're one of the few people who hit it after only a couple of tries. Most people give up.
Well, Sue, you have an O in your name.
Yeah, it's strange.
But it's an unpronounced O.
Yes. It's a Slavic name.
That's I have an unpronounced R in my name, so
Messier,
yeah. But Sue, it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I have to say I was watching you with Bryan, and I wish I had taken notes because it's so interesting to hear a director talk about what's going on in their mind on the other side of the table. You know, when an actor, or myself, I guess, I come in to do an audition, I'm trying to focus on my character, and it would never occur to me that they'd want to hear questions. And so it's nice to hear that it's not an imposition or it's not a sign of ignorance to ask, you know, sort of what they'd like to see in the character.
Yeah.
And I like to hear it from Bryan too, because I'm very impressed with his writing and with his character development. He really has people that you can play. I mean, I've only been doing this 2 or 3 years now, and I've done a fair number of student films, and it makes it difficult to have one-dimensional characters. You end up, you know, you're an actor and actually and teacher too, and coach, and it makes it harder. You have to give your own backstory to the character, and so it's just wonderful to hear that a director wants to help you and wants to place you in that world, and also just to know what he wants, because I'd love to come in and audition for him again sometime.
Well, I think it'll happen. So, I mean, you've got the mindset of an actor, actress that really knows the deal, so to speak.
I'm working. Yeah.
That's terrific. And you said just 2 or 3 years, but I mean, I was looking at some of the list of projects that you're involved in right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive, some of these names. Well, you and I are both involved, as is Bryan Casey, in Newport the series.
Yes, Newport the series, and it's going to be a pretty exciting development for this whole area. It's basically a television, a series, and I don't think there's been a series in this area since the 90s or so, the 80s, yeah.
Right.
And so the nice thing too is that it's actually, well, I take that back because you did have Body of Proof, which disappeared last year.
Oh, sure.
But it's set in the area, and that is a wonderful aspect of this, is that you have characters, you have people that have grown up in Newport, and you have the town almost as a character in itself. So.
And this has been spearheaded by Tom Messier.
Tom Messier,
who's
yes,
just a house of fire.
He is.
A lot of energy with that guy.
He's a producer, developer, director, and he's doing a great job getting the word out and getting the backing for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm actually kind of slated to come in at the end of the series, so I'm hoping we get it going soon so I get my chance.
And the series, Newport the series, is about paintings that a famous painter, his name is escaping me, I apologize.
Oh, my two.
William, is it William something?
I can't remember, I'm sorry.
Well, he's really good. He's a painter, and he paints these images of the cornerstone individuals in Newport.
Yeah, the townspeople.
The townspeople, the reporter, the firemen, etc. And then
William Hyatt.
William Hyatt, thank you. Oh,
yeah.
I would feel bad if
we hadn't explained that.
Yeah, so William Hyatt does these wonderful paintings, and then what Tom Erb is doing is he's doing a kind of a series of stories, taking those paintings and bringing them to life with actors. And luckily for people like you and myself, using a lot of local Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts actors. Yeah. And I think even some folks from New York came down to audition.
Oh, I'm sure they did. It was quite a line. It was almost as bad as Mr. Casey's last casting call.
Or just as good. Just as good. Or good or bad. It depends on.
Oh no, I look at a competition.
But you got cast in a role, and what's your role?
Well, the role in Newport.
Yes.
I haven't actually gotten the character yet.
Okay.
They are going to have a kind of a mystery episode there, and I'm going to draw a blank on someone else's name here too. But at the very end of the show, we'll find out who we are and kind of where we fit in. You would know his name, the survivor.
Richard Hatch.
Richard Hatch is in that episode.
I saw your picture with him on Facebook. Richard Hatch, he's quite an extraordinary
character. He's a character as a character.
Well, he showed us his new tattoo on the set of New Portland. They were shooting a teaser, and Richard came out, and he had a brand new tattoo on his whole back.
Oh my gosh!
Which I won't go into graphic details, but it was pretty graphic and detailed. So
all right.
we've got more projects. We're talking about Fake This. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Fake This is actually a joint project of Silent Nights Films and Irish Eyes, Brolick, and Bryan Mullen.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of a crime drama set in the hood.
Okay.
And it has to do with drug money, the mafia, and two detectives who are really trying to blow the thing apart.
Wow.
And I was really happy to get my role. I play the FBI chief who's boss to these two kind of rogue agents, and it's still shooting. A friend of mine, John Lindsay, is also in that film, although we haven't shared a scene and won't. But it looks like it's really going to be a gut-hitting kind of action movie, and they're doing a wonderful production job on the production values too. So that's always nice to see.
Yeah.
And actually, going back to what Bryan Casey had been talking about, Chance is another movie that I've been working on, and it's actually still in production, still shooting. And John Lindsay is actually in a scene with me, so that's a nice turn of events.
John Lindsay is just a great
He's
actor.
a great character actor.
Yeah, he's a tremendous guy.
And,
some of these characters or actors that we're mentioning here on the show, people could look up on Facebook. They can Google the names and so forth.
Oh, YouTube them, and you'll get to see a little magic in the screen.
Yes, that's terrific. And more importantly, people can always support their local films by coming out to places like the Brooklyn Coffee and Tea House and places in Massachusetts. And you're from Massachusetts, is that correct?
I am, yeah. In fact, it was nice. There was a Boston Film Festival, I believe, and BC Films actually had a film that was nominated in its category there.
I think it was called the Massachusetts Independent Film Festival.
Was it Massachusetts Independent Film Festival? Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. There's a few of them up there, and they're all exciting.
Yeah, but it's wonderful to have those kind of venues because you get a chance to see who's working. You get a chance to see really the caliber of some of this work is very high.
Yes.
And to get to know the people that are involved in the film industry here, or the beginning of the film industry here.
Right.
So the idea of having a kind of a permanent location to show people's work is great. This is such a wonderful option for people to share work because you pour so much into making a film.
Right.
And it's got to hurt to have it sit there on its DVD and you get a chance to see, a few people's reaction, and maybe you get a chance to show it, at a late night bar or something like that when they have one of those group screenings. But to actually sit there in a movie theater and watch the people watching it, I think that'd be a wonderful experience for anyone who's directing or writing or, even acting. You want to know, did I really get that?
Right.
And an audience isn't going to be nice if they don't have to be. So it's
that is correct.
It's good feedback. It's great feedback.
Well, it is good feedback to get because in a theater production you get that instant feedback of the live vibe of the audience.
Yeah.
In a short film or a feature film on the independent or even a higher budget level, you have to wait through the editing and through the marketing and through the distribution to see exactly what the audience is going to react to. And every audience is different. You can be in
That's so true.
you can be in one screening and that film is well loved and received and a shake of the hand and a pat on the back, and then you could be at the tomato screening the next time where you're getting an omelet thrown at you, eggs and tomatoes and even a ham.
Hopefully fewer of those than the other. Anyway, and let me think about what else I've got in the wings here.
Kevin.
We talked a bit before we sat down here, and I was talking about John Lindsay, and he's actually someone I had met in acting classes. There's an acting teacher, Kevin Lassett, who kind of came up in this area in connection with the old Plymouth Studios project that it died, but Kevin has gone on to bigger and brighter things. And Kevin had been hired by the studio to give free acting lessons to people. And after the studio kind of folded, he continued to do this on his own, for a fee, but he's a marvelous teacher, and he's really almost got a troupe of actors built up in the area. And I'm sure you probably have a very similar thing with core acting in Rhode Island.
Yeah, it's good to see these alumni members of acting classes who kind of bump into each other and
on auditions.
On auditions or even on projects moving forward, and they have that common bond of a certain class or a teacher that they shared, and it's terrific.
There's also that kind of, I won't say competitive, but that kind of like very supportive, but do good work,
Right.
Are you doing good work? I'm doing this. Oh, well, I better try harder. I better, So it's kind of a gang of people that support you, but motivate you.
Right.
And that's great for those days when you wake up and you go, why am I doing this? This is all so hard. And it's just one way to get a quick feedback and enjoy doing it, enjoy the process.
It's like break a leg, and if you're going for the same role I am, break two.
Break two legs, yes.
in your wrist while you're at it.
I'm really a nice person, though. I'm sorry, touch that. Don't take that to heart.
So I'm curious, when you 2 or 3 years ago, or even
Yeah.
before that in your life, when you watched films, who were some of the actors or actresses or both that kind of said, "Gee, I love acting, I love film, or I love theater"? You know, who inspired you?
I love theaters as like a different animal. I won't start talking about that. But I thought about this on the way up because I know he's going to ask me this. But I was thinking, like, you know, actors are probably the ones who've really impressed me. I don't know why that's so, but I was thinking of Daniel Day-Lewis. I'm still kicking myself because I haven't seen Lincoln yet. But Bill the Butcher. I will have Bill the Butcher in my mind until he dies. That was a movie by New York, The Gangs of New York.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And, oh gosh, there are also some directors that have really struck me, like the Coen brothers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think maybe I have a little bent personality, but the Coen brothers are marvelous. I mean, and Steve Buscemi, or Buscemi, however you're supposed to pronounce it, is just fascinating to watch. You know, of course, Meryl Streep. I mean, oh my God, how can you do any wrong? You know, but the Iron Lady, was just phenomenal to me. It's like, oh my word, you know, it was like she metamorphosed into Margaret Thatcher, and that was such a fascinating film too. Oh my gosh. So many people. You know, I'm one of these people who I don't have my 1 or 2 favorites. It's like I'll see someone and I'll see someone's work in a film and I'll just, oh wow, this is phenomenal. Kate Winslet.
Oh yeah, wow.
You know, we can, geez, go on. And you know, talking about Lincoln, it's like I've got my little short list of films that I want to go out and see before the Academy Awards start. I'm going to have to probably spend a couple of days in the theater at this point.
You and I could talk film all day and all night.
I think we could.
We've run out of time here, but I want to thank Sue. It's just been fascinating talking with you and sharing.
It's great for you to have me, and anytime you want me back, and love to share a film someday with you.
We'll do that. Thank you very much, Sue.
Thank you. Haven't got used to that yet.
Well, we can do a handshake.
All right.
There you go, Sue. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching episode 13 of Short Film Showcase, our first show for the new year, 2013. I'd like to thank our guest, Sue Wyoral, as well as our producer, Bryan Casey, for both of them, for ringing in the new year on our show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to have your film shown on Short Film Showcase, please contact Bryan Casey at bcfilms.net. We also want to thank a very special person, Kejwan Boyer, for producing our new theme song for the show. Thank you very much, Kejwan. And for all those filmmakers out there thinking about making a movie, I'd like to implore you, if you can dream it, shoot it. I'm Mike Messier for Short Film Showcase.